mic or not? Okay, so you've been watching film of these guys. You've played them 4 times this season. 2 days that you discovered that maybe you didn't think you knew already.
Well, what I think when you really dive into somebody, you continue to see patterns in certain areas, and Vegas is no different than most teams. They like to do things. The more you watch, the more you learn, and so we spent the last couple of days making sure that we're paying attention, we're seeing it clearly. We're coming up with a plan to beat a really good hockey team in their building. And that is where our focus is tonight.
Is there respect? Sorry. Yeah, actually. Yeah, thank you.
So there's lots of differences between them and the LA Kings, but one that's very obvious is their defense is huge. How does playing a big defense core change what you have to do, or do you just have to do it harder?
I think both teams, they have some similarities, but they also present their own unique set of problems. One of the strengths of this team here tonight is their decor. They block a lot of shots. They get up in the rush. They can sift pucks through from the blue line. They're a good decor. They're a different type of challenge. I think in terms of height and weight and all that kind of stuff, we're one of the biggest teams around. And, we play a physical brand of hockey, but a physical brand that's clean.
Jay, just to follow up Mark's first question, is there such thing as too much time for a coach? Because you like to let your players, you're not beholden by matchups, and you like to let your players do different things. Is there too much time?
You know what? That's a good question for them, because I think they finished a couple days before us, right? Is that right?
I meant from a coaching perspective.
From a coaching perspective?
Sorry.
For me, we've kept things kind of in a rhythm here, and how we skated and how we use certain days and all that kind of thing. I'm quite pleased with the look in our team's eye this morning.
And I got to ask, do you have an update on Matthias Janmark? Could he play tonight?
We'll see what comes out the gate, DMB.
Hey, Jay.
Hi. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good.
With Evan Bouchard, yes, he's a guy that you've seen for quite a long time, but what was it about his first round that stood out to you? And then just from a development standpoint, what would you say has been the biggest growth you've seen from the moment you said, hey, we need you to replace Tyson Barrie and run PP1?
Yeah. Well, the good thing for us over the last year and a half is that we've kind of understudied him on that power play. So there were times when he would take it over for a little bit. And I think that's helped him. Biggest areas of growth in Evan's game, I think he's playing a good two-way brand of hockey. I think he's found a partner in Matthias Ekholm that he reads well off of, that helps accentuate his positives and maybe makes up for some areas that, might not be his biggest strength. So I think they complement each other very well. And what we're seeing is a young defenseman growing before our eyes. Quite pleased with where his game's at.
Jay, can you sum up Matthias Ekholm's impact on your lineup since you got him at the trade deadline?
Yeah, you know what? He somebody who fit our team like a glove. We put a lot of work into trying to find the right person to complement our group, and we kind of reconfigured our decor a little bit. Part of it was Bouchard was getting elevated. Barrie went to Nashville. We got Matthias. I think he's somebody who plays a very, very solid brand of two-way hockey. He has more offense than people think. He makes a good first pass. He's a big body. He's a serious professional. He's not somebody who just comes to the rink and waits for direction from the coaching staff. He has a plan for what he wants to accomplish that day. He has fit us like a glove. And I'll tell you what, one of the things that I didn't know, and some of our media have heard me say it, but when I called him after the trade, and Ken Holland had called him after the trade, you could hear the excitement in his voice to come to the city of Edmonton. And I thought that was excellent. Somebody who really embraces, the weather in the northern climate, who wanted to be part of the proud history and tradition of our club. So I didn't know that about him. But that was an added bonus because he really truly does, he loves being an Edmonton Oiler.
Sort of on a similar theme, I think this is the first time Nick Bugstad's reached the second round at the age of 30. I'm sure a lot of players, when they're drafted, they think, I'm going to go on a deep playoff run in my 20s, but it doesn't always happen, does it?
Yeah, and you know what? You talk about a true professional, someone who's had to go through an evolutionary stage in his career. I think he was with Minnesota last year. He didn't dress in their playoff games, but in Edmonton, he's a real important piece. He's a big body, penalty kills. I can move him up the lineup. I can move him down the lineup. Plays the game hard. And he's someone who probably came into the league expecting to put up huge numbers and has found a way to carve out a real nice career. And part of carving out a real nice career is making sure that you go on deep playoff runs. So I'm happy for him.
Jay, your power play. They're the least penalized team in the NHL during the regular season. So on that note, maybe more 5-on-5 hockey. Just a thought on, this was the first year the team had a positive goal differential 5-on-5 when McDavid and Draisaitl, one of them, weren't on the ice.
Yep.
Just how much more comfortable you are with what you have right now, knowing what your team accomplished during the regular season.
Well, we're proud of that, first of all. We have a lot of really good hockey players up front. You mentioned it. Vegas doesn't take a lot of penalties. I think in the season series, it was even like 9 or 10 penalties for both teams. I think it's important that when you do get a power play that you make it count. You have that kind of killer instinct to make it count. But there's going to be a huge emphasis on 5-on-5 this series. They have a way of doing things. We have a way of doing things. We're going to go head to head tonight, so I'm excited to see the game.
Jay, as you've said in the past, the league has gone from 16 teams to 8 teams.
Yep.
How much more and what exactly does it take to find success in the second round?
Well, you said it, right? The league has narrowed. It's gotten better. It just got better. So what do I think you need to find success in the second round? I think you have to continually get better each and every game. Everything's not going to go your way all the time. But to accentuate things that are going well, I think is important, and to quickly polish up or tidy up areas that you might be struggling with. I think those are the keys in a playoff series. And that's incumbent upon the coaching staff to make sure you're doing your work, you're seeing things clearly, and you come up with a plan that everyone can buy into.
Jay, your team outscored the Kings 4-1 with Derek Ryan on the ice at 5-on-5 in that series.
Yep.
Why? What does he do to be an effective player for you guys?
You talk about, I use the word true professional, but true pro, goes about his business, has a clear understanding of who he is, what he brings to the table, low maintenance, plays the game the right way. I think he complements a lot of different people. Sometimes I move him up the lineup, and I feel quite good with it. There's different times in the game where I move him around. You've heard me say that I think when we can move people around, it makes us a deeper team.
Jay, morning. Evander Kane this morning. Just wondering if he's an available player tonight, or
Yeah, you've been out of kind of commission here for a while, and that's kind of been his pattern over last series. Is on game day he doesn't take the morning skate. So we'll see what comes out the gate, though.